Key, who is the MVP so far midseason?
Jalen Hurts. We had Jalen Hurts the midseason award, undefeated team. A lot of people coming into the season didn't think that this young man would be able to do some of the things he's capable of doing, or has shown us that he's capable of doing this season. They bring in A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown looks like a different wide receiver because of the ability for Jalen Hurts to deliver the football. He's running it well. He's not turning the football over at an alarming rate. He has his team right now sitting in the top seed in the NFC.
You guys changed my opinion yesterday. James Steele, Max Kellerman yelling at me. And I want to take an opportunity to say something because I do believe that we're watching greatness. So with Michael Jordan playing against Michael Jordan, right, I saw it firsthand, and I recognized, and I was like, man, that's different. And it made me look at watching LeBron James differently because now I don't want to take it for granted because I don't know if I'll ever see something like LeBron James again. And I feel like the same thing is slightly happening with Patrick Mahomes. Like, we just take it for granted. Watching him between running on the ground and throwing for over 500 yards to get a win, it's just something so different that the game of football I feel like has never seen. He's my MVP right now.
I'm
Finally,
so glad you said
sense.
that. I said the same exact thing, Jay, on This Just In yesterday, 2 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, that I said Michael Jordan, LeBron, watching Patrick Mahomes, back in the day, Lawrence Taylor, right? Like, watching Patrick Mahomes is like, you don't want to take it for granted because it's magic. It's when you live through an era and you get to watch this guy, who, by the way, far and away the greatest start to any career for any quarterback in NFL history, because he's putting up all the personal numbers of whoever you want to point to and all the team success of, like, Tom Brady, right? He's doing both. And the eyeball test says it's just a pleasure to watch. It's like something you never really seen. He's the MVP through this point of the season. He just balled out in prime time. He made impossible plays to win the game. He's the best player in football every year. He's the best player again and the most valuable this year. It's Patrick Mahomes for me.
2 right answers and 1 wrong one. Congratulations, guys. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Coach of the year, guys. Key, who you got?
I'm going to take Nick Sirianni. I feel like that they have an opportunity to run the table. You know, even if they are a 16-1 team, that's coach of the year. What if they go 17-0? What if this team goes undefeated? You know, a guy as it sits right now, at this point in midseason, he has an undefeated team.
I just think last year watching Jalen Hurts and seeing how talented he had a chance to be, but not seeing the weapons, Howie Roseman and company have done a really good job giving them all the pieces. But just because you have pieces doesn't mean that automatically translates to success. It's how to manage expectations and personalities. And I think, for me, Nick Sirianni is the coach of the year for doing so.
Jay, you make a hell of a case for Sirianni. Hell of a case. I'm not going to argue against Sirianni, but I am going to argue for Brian Daboll, and this is the reason. The other coach of the year candidates, you'll look at and you go, but they're loaded with talent, right? Daboll is by the way, including Robert Saleh, very talented team. Daboll is the guy right now you look at and you go, that team's not that talented. Like, they're not that talented. How are they 6-2, right? And not just not talented in 6-2, but for a team that couldn't buy a win for years, they were awful. Years. And this dude shows up, and just by doing some basic stuff, let's protect the quarterback. We're going to send extra protection around our quarterback. We're going to use our running back. We're going to play sound defense. I'm going to bring in Wink, the whole thing. I think Daboll is coach of the year. He's squeezing six wins out of this team so far.
Yeah, 8-0, though.
Yeah, I can't argue against Sirianni. I'm just making the pro-Daboll argument. He'd get my vote. Daboll would. Okay, offensive player of the year. Key, who you got?
Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley is the offensive, not MVP, but offensive player of the year. Now, there's a couple other people that you could certainly put on this list, but this young man's coming back off of injuries. He's just, he's the ground and pound. He's the heart and soul of the, almost called them the New York Patriots, the New York Giants offense.
Goodness.
I mean, it's there to see. He's made Daniel Jones a much better quarterback, and I think that Brian Daboll and company certainly saw that, and they understand what he is. The big question is going to be, though, can this continue the second half of the season for them?
I love Saquon. I want him to win, but I'm going with the guy who currently leads the league in catches with 76 and total yards with 1,104. Yo, look.
Dude got 1,000 yards, 8 games to go.
Stupid.
They can just shut him down.
Regardless whether it's Teddy Bridgewater or Tua, Tyreek Hill is that dude, and he is the answer to the offensive player of the year.
Throw too much now.
Honestly, if I had to go with the receiver, I would take A.J. Brown. Forget about the numbers. He has twice as many touchdowns as Tyreek, but forget about the numbers for a second. A.J. Brown does everything. But, guys, and I know you don't supposed to give it to the same guys you give MVP because then it becomes a quarterback award. The offensive player of the year is Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick Mahomes. The dude is they took away. Look what happened to Rodgers when they took Devontae Adams away. See the offensive player of the year you guys are talking to? He's on another team. Patrick Mahomes got, other than Tua, who's missed games, the highest QBR, the guy who Tyreek Hill went to, the highest QBR in the league. Patrick Mahomes, 21 TDs against 6 interceptions, 2,600 yards. His team is probably the best in the conference. Everyone else, you add the receiver, they ball out, you take it away. Oh, what happened to Aaron Rodgers? What happened to Tom Brady? The receivers got hurt. Patrick Mahomes, take all the receivers away. Whatever.
I wonder how could Tyreek Hill, though, have what did you say, 1,100 yards so far?
1,100.
You got 1,100 yards in 8 games or whatever it is.
Mike McDaniel's feeding the dude. He's like, we got this toy, we're going to play with it.
It doesn't matter, man. Jerry Rice was fed.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
But Jerry Rice did that type of stuff. Don't forget. Through 8 games, Jerry Rice would have about 1,000 yards.
Maybe there's something to be said about Mike McDaniel and the offensive
a lot of
scheme.
seasons like that.
Maybe there's something to be said about Mike McDaniel and the offensive scheme.
No,
Maybe
it's just
there's
crazy,
No
though.
question.
It's just crazy to think
I'm gonna look
the
up
dude
Jerry
got
Rice.
like 1,100 yards with 8.
Well,
8
they
weeks
played
of
9.
football.
They played 9 games.
They
though.
played 9.
No, I'm saying they got 8 because it's a 17-game season,
Max,
so the halfway mark, you got an extra game now.
I'm going to say halfway mark.
Max,
This dude
Max, Max, can I say something to you? Regardless of whether you're, analytics, this dude is one of the best receivers to ever play. If he were to say that, I'm gonna take his word for it.
No, 8 and Max though. But think about it, halfway through the season, 1,100 yards. It's just crazy. I don't know how that happens.
I just looked up Jerry Rice, but that's what Tyreek Hill makes you do. He makes you look up Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice had some seasons that were just filthy. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.